Hey VC, this is Brian, aka Vinyl Villain. Finally, after long last, doing my first VC video. I've actually been following the VC now for probably 1 or 2 years. Been right there on the outside, kind of looking in, watching a lot of videos, subscribing to a lot of channels, and always wanted to make a video, but was never sure if I could do it, or if I could get up enough nerve to do it. So after watching several of the vinyl tags for 2019, I finally decided this was my time. So and with some encouragements for some people out there in the VC, I decided to give it a go. So here goes nothing. First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to a lot of people that I've been watching through these last couple years. Vinyl in the Van, Vinyl Richie, Naz Nomad, Dots and Loops, Tales from the Crate, Billy Hurst, Vinyl Countdown, Peaches and his wife. I love their channel. Records. I also watch Steve Carlson, who's also been an inspiration. Omaha Introvert, Derek Psych, or is it Psych Derek? Matt Hayes, the Psych Experience with Psychedelic Experience with Matt Sands and the Professor. Those guys are amazing too. I love that. Nico, Horror Biz, that guy's awesome. Oddbox Topper, he's one of my favorites. Dead Wax, Scott Waters, the metal guy, he's awesome as well. And those are just some of the people that I really dig watching their channels and have been watching for a long time. So, but without further ado, I'm just going to dive right into this 2019 tag and go for it. Some of my best find of 2018. I couldn't narrow it down to one, so I have a few albums here. This is a reissue of the Chocolate Watch Band, No Way Out. This is a great record. I actually would probably never even heard of this record if it wasn't for the VC. So yeah, I really enjoy that record a lot. So that was one of my best finds. Quicksilver Messenger Service, Happy Trails. I see that showing a lot on the VC. I really enjoy that record as well. Uriah Heep. Now this is a band that I can't remember who it was, showed some Uriah Heep records on their channel, and I was never really into the Heep, but after I got this record, I started snatching up all their albums. So I've got probably their first 5-6 albums. So yeah, I really like the Heep. Another guy who looks like he must be a new channel, Vinyl Lova. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's Vinyl and Lova. He did a video showing his psych records, his top 50 psych records. I guess there's a part 2 coming out. Yeah, that looks like he's got a good thing going. There was a guy that was called Eric the Viking. I haven't seen any videos from him for a long time, but I used to watch his videos all the time. Whatever happened to that guy? Holes to fill. I feel like, and I've heard somebody else mention this too, that my collection is just one big hole to be filled, because I've really only started collecting my records again over the last couple of years, and although I have gotten hundreds of records over this past year, I feel like there's still a lot of stuff I want to explore, lots of different music, and that's part of why I like to watch the VC, because it gets so many great ideas of different styles of music and stuff. Something that I don't have a lot of in my collection is I don't have a lot of punk, a lot of garage, and I'm really into that. I like 90s alternative and like the grunge scene. I really enjoyed a lot of that. Unfortunately, it's hard to find those albums, it seems like, at least for decent rate. Also, I'd like to continue to fill my Kiss collection. And you know, like in that book, that psychedelic book, I'm going to try and fill that too. I know that's kind of a lofty goal, but I'll work on getting as many as I can anyway. Cheap albums that are really good. I go through a lot of. Been to a few record stores, go to a lot of thrift shops. Seems like I see this one a lot. This is a great record, Cheap Trick Live at Budokan. I'm sure everybody out there has seen it, but you can lay your hands on this record for anywhere from a couple of bucks to maybe no more than $6-7. I think I paid $2 or $3 for this one. I was waiting to get it in good condition, but yeah, you see, this is a good cheap record that obviously if you listen to it, you know it's a good record. Another one I see out there for fairly decent and always is out there is Sly and the Family Stone's greatest hits. I mean, come on, this guy is amazing. Look at that. Yeah, I love these guys. So yeah, this is another one you can get for in any dollar bin or any bargain bin. This is what started me on my psych journey. It was probably the first psychedelic record I ever had was Vanilla Fudge. You can get this record anywhere too. It seems like released around here where I'm from in Iowa. This record is in every bin. There's a place here in town, they probably got 2 or 3 copies of this right now. So yeah, Vanilla Fudge. That was probably my first psych record I ever had. So just a couple albums that you can get on the cheap. A side project. I don't have a lot of side project records. And the one that came to mind immediately, only because I just recently acquired it, was this Manassas record. I think there's another one too. Yeah, this is a good album. Stephen Stills, Fuzzy Samuel, Dallas Taylor, Chris Hillman. I mean, this is a great compilation of players and musicians. Yeah, it's a good record. Sorry if I keep referring to my notes here, but songs from an artist that were uncharacteristic of their catalog. Let's see. First one is the Rolling Stones. I think I've seen somebody else show this too, but the Rolling Stones, their Satanic Majesty's Request. This is kind of a love-hate album. I've heard people trash it to death. I've also heard people say this is the greatest Stones album they've ever heard. I am of the camp that I love this record. And I was lucky enough to get the lenticular cover as well. Great record. I also sometimes use this as my fall asleep record too. So there you go, Stones, Satanic Majesty's Request. Also got this Monkey's Head. Only uncharacteristic in that when I think of the Monkees, I think of these guys are like the funny, like the show, and they're comedic, and I don't think so much like a psychedelic record like this is. Yeah, this is fairly highly regarded in the VCs. I've seen it shown quite a few times, or at least mentioned. Yeah, Monkey's Head. See, that's one of my that I feel like is uncharacteristic of their usual catalog. Those are the only ones I could really think of, besides ones that everybody's already mentioned, like Kiss, Dynasty, which is an obvious one. Last album purchased. Well, I actually bought a few albums at once, and so I'm going to show a few things here, but Childish Gambino. This is probably also the most current record I own. I don't buy a lot of modern music, not because I don't like modern music, because I do, but I do like a lot of the older stuff. I think the only reason that I haven't bought any recent releases is I'm not familiar with a lot of the groups, so I don't really know what to get. Another reason that I am watching the videos on the VC. So, but this one is a really great album. I heard I actually got this idea from my kids. My girls both love this album. So yeah, Childish Gambino. It's a great record. Also got this record. It's just another recent reissue of Nirvana, Nevermind. Actually, even with that Childish Gambino, I got these records of all places at Walmart or Target. So I can't believe I bought records at Walmart or Target, but they were there, and I had gift cards, so there they are. Now they're mine. So this, I don't need to say much about this. Everybody knows this is a great album. So Pink Floyd, Animals, also got that with that group of records. Again, not much to really need to be said about this. It's just an awesome outing by Pink Floyd. That's another artist who I'd like to fill holes in my catalog. I have that. I have The Wall, but I don't have any of their earlier like experimental stuff. So I'd like to get more of that in my collection. Another one that I bought in that is Beatles Revolver. Probably right there at the top of my Beatles favorite Beatles albums. This one and Rubber Soul. Yeah, I love this album. Had it on CD for the longest time, and played the heck out of it in my car. So about time I had it in vinyl. So yeah, Beatles Revolver. Woo, awesome. This one I did not buy at Walmart. I did purchase it on that same day, though. I happened to go to a record store in one of the outlying towns in our area. If you're ever in Eagle Grove, Iowa, which I don't know why you would be, but they have a nice record shop up there, Arden Scott Records. Got this copy of Alice Cooper from the Inside. I love this album. It takes me back to my high school days. We used to listen to this quite a bit, actually. My friend, kind of a funny story, my friend had a room that had all these sectional mirrors for his wall, and he also had a strobe light, and if we were put in the right frame of mind, we'd turn the lights off, pop this album on, flip on the strobe, and just kind of freak out to Inmates We're All Crazy. Anybody who knows that song and would know that that's a good album, a good song to freak out to. Great album with a bad cover. This was probably the hardest one for me to do. This one and a bad album with a great cover. So I had to kind of go through my records. I found this Judas Priest record, Ram It Down. This is, this is Turbo. Anyway, this record, great album, but not your typical Judas Priest cover. So yeah, I didn't really like Turbo's cover. So yeah, I think they could have maybe switched it up, put something else on there. This one though, this is a Procol Harum. The record is called Home. I love this record. One of my friends in high school turned me on to this record a long time ago. There is a song on here called "The Dead Man's Dream." It is an awesome song. You must look it up and listen to it. It's a must listen. But the cover, not so great. So that great album, bad cover. Bad album, great cover. This is also going to be debatable, but this is Sid Sings. This is Sid Vicious, former bass player of the Sex Pistols. I think that's a great cover. I just think it's so Sid. He's snot-nosed kit punk with a open jacket and bottle of beer, padlock necklace, snarling punk attitude. Unfortunately, this is a lot. A lot of this is live, and it's fairly poor recording. Don't get me wrong, I like this record, but yeah, there's a guy that every time there's a break between songs, you can hear a guy going, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, it's fairly annoying. If you ever listen to it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Just so you get the real gist of it, the back cover, even worse. I think you might even have a flake of like some drugs or something right there. Same could be said though with this being a great album with a bad cover. All right, Earworm song. This was pretty easy for me. I think you might even be able to guess the song without me even telling you. This is the Knack. The song is My Sharona. It was a song that when it came out, it was on the radio about every 5 minutes. And I remember I had this 45 along with ELO. About the same time, ELO came out with a song called Don't Bring Me Down. So I had the double 45s. I had Don't Bring Me Down by ELO, and I had My Sharona by the Knack. Both songs that once you hear them, they're very hard to get out of your head. In fact, I decided to share that with the rest of my friends. We went on a youth trip to Chicago. I had the two 45s with me. I played them at the dorms over and over and over, and so I basically drove everybody crazy and made it an Earworm song for them too. I'm sure whenever they hear either Don't Bring Me Down by ELO or My Sharona by the Knack, they probably feel a twinge of hate towards me for that. So, but anyway, those are my Earworm songs. Let's see, historically important artist. This one I could have went a lot of different ways, and I had trouble narrowing it down, so I decided I'm going to do a couple artists. I know this is cheating, but obviously Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath is, you know, proto-metal band. A lot of people say if it wasn't for Black Sabbath, there would be no heavy metal. And I don't need to repeat those things, although I already did, but Black Sabbath, yeah, they were definitely a pioneer for hard rock and heavy metal. This album, my friend had this in high school. This album cover scared the living crap out of me. Another song not to listen to in the dark was the first song on side one. I believe the song is called Black Sabbath. And yes, it's a creepy cover and a creepy song, but great album, and they're definitely made history. Now this is one that nobody I don't think has mentioned, but I think a lot of bands like 9 Inch Nails and Ministry and a lot of those you know, those electronic bands, industrial bands, owe something to this artist, Gary Newman. Sometimes I've heard him referred to as the godfather of electronic music or industrial music. So yeah, Gary Newman. For a lot, this is great pop music from the 70s and early 80s, or the Cars. I feel like they were a historically significant band, definitely. And this is a great album, Shake It Up. They were definitely had a lot of influence on many rock bands, pop bands, you name it. Definitely significant. Let's see. Album you own because of your parents. This one was pretty easy. Although my parents really didn't listen to a lot of music, I don't remember hearing a lot of music when I was growing up being played in the house. In fact, I made my own way listening to music. In fact, my parents were somewhat strict, actually, about the kind of music I got to listen to in the house. Anyway, this record is something that my parents had in their collection, and it was just a collection that basically spent time in the basement, like I said. They didn't listen to a lot of music around the house. This is just something that I ended up finding. Slide Slim by James Taylor, and this is a great album. There's a song on here called Machine Gun Kelly that I really like. This also has You've Got a Friend, and I think it's got Fire and Rain. No, it doesn't have Fire and Rain, but it does have You've Got a Friend. One of James Taylor's big hits. Another record that my parents did have was Simon and Garfunkel, Sounds of Silence. They also had Bridge Over Troubled Waters. So I grew up listening to a lot of these songs. And I do remember listening to a lot of AM radio, and we'd go places in the car, and remember hearing a lot of this kind of stuff on the AM radio as well. So, yep, Simon and Garfunkel. This is the actual album that my parents had in their basement. Those were ones that I'd gotten since. But this is the actual album still in the shrink wrap. Sonny and Cher, Look at Us, and look at them. They're quite hip, aren't they? It's got his like fur vest, and yeah, they're definitely hip cats in that picture. This is the album that spurned the hit I Got You, Babe. Yeah, so this is one of the surviving records of my parents' collection that I did keep. But this record, I have it because of my parents, not because of that they had it or because they gave it to me or anything. I have this record because my parents absolutely forbid me to have it. So it was because of my parents grounding me from having this record that I have Kiss Destroyer. Kiss Destroyer was kind of my record of defiance when I was younger. I think I had this record when I was in 6th grade. I always had to hide it under my bed. Could never have it out because if they seen it, I'm sure they would have wrecked it. So I know, right? What are they thinking? Best dollar bin find. I have a couple. I got this Rolling Stones Exile on Main Street. I actually found the cover and one of the records in one part of the bin, and I seen it had a $2 price tag on it, and I was like, oh crap, where's the other record? So I looked through hundreds of records in that bin, and by golly, if I didn't find the second record for the album. I don't know if they thought it was missing and they sold it on the cheap because of that or what, but after I put the two together, I now have the full double album of the Rolling Stones Exile on Main Street for $2. I'd say that's a pretty good bargain bin find. This one, Kiss Alive 2, I actually found this not in a dollar bin, but at a garage. It was actually an estate sale, and it was actually in the shrink. Hadn't even been opened yet. It was still sealed. Has all the insides. Got the booklet and all the stuff that came with it. Oh, I love this record. I got this for 1 thin dime. Yeah, I asked the guy, how much do you want for those records over there? He goes, I'll sell them to you all for $0.10 a piece at an estate sale. So not only got this, I got another Procol Harum record for $0.10 and some other stuff. But yeah, thin dime bought me this sealed copy of Alive 2. I'd say that's probably one of my best bargains ever. Another record that I got out of a bargain bin was this London record. London is, in case you don't know, London is an 80s, I guess they fall into the 80s hard rock hair metal genre. They London is famously known as the band in LA that was like a stepping stone band for a lot of artists who eventually did go on to become famous in their own bands. In London, Nikki Sixx was in London. I want to say Fred Curry was in London. Fred Curry was actually on this record. Fred Curry right there, the drummer for Cinderella. He was on this record. Another person that was in London that went on to be famous, I believe Slash from Guns N' Roses was also in London. So yeah, they're like the junior college of heavy metal or glam metal. So although I don't think they ever made it big, but the reason that I find that this is such a bargain for a few bucks was because I'd never seen this record before, so I went and looked at what it's going for on different sites like eBay and stuff, and it goes upwards to $100 and some for this album that I got for a couple bucks. So I'll hold on to it for a while though, since I love glam. I have a soft spot in my heart for 80s glam metal and hair metal. So yeah, those are a couple of my bargain bin stuff. Favorite double album. I could have went on and on. I've got a lot of great double albums. Honorable mentions like Peter Frampton, Frampton Comes Alive. I love that record. Everybody's got that one though. This one is Blue Oyster Cult, ETL Live, Extraterrestrial Live. I love Blue Oyster Cult. They're probably one of my favorite bands of all time. I've been into Blue Oyster Cult since I was in high school. I used to have fun always looking on their albums for the little the symbol that they had, the little religious symbol, and they have it on all their albums. But yeah, this double live album is amazing. Blue Oyster Cult. This was a no-brainer. Kiss Alive 1. Absolutely love Kiss Alive 1. Best double album ever. This ranks right up there with my these double albums. Both could fit into my best live album category as well. Great record. And just the cover and listening to it, you almost felt like you were somewhere in here. It was just an amazing record. I think I seen recently online a picture of these original guys right here holding this very banner that they made. Now, of course, years later, what they looked like now holding the banner next to this. That was such a cool picture. But anyway, yeah, Kiss Alive 1 as my best double album. Album that you learned about from the VC. Alright, I can credit a lot of the albums that I've gotten over this past year as albums that I got because of seeing from people on the VC. To narrow that down was quite a task, but I did narrow it down to a couple. So I think it was Dots and Loops showed Fever Tree, and I love this album. This is a great record, great psychedelic record. I just love the cover, love everything about it. It's a great record. Yeah, this is definitely one that I got off of because of hearing on Dots and Loops channel. So this one is another album off of the VC, The Psychedelic Lollipop by Blues Magoos. I actually ended up getting this one and Electric Comic Book, both because of seeing him on the VC. So yeah, I could have picked half the records I got this year and credit it to the VC. So I can actually give you credit for a lot of my albums. So it's the one thing about being in the vinyl community that I want to be in it so much, is because of the variety of music that people show. And I hope that I get a chance to show, you know, a variety that I have. This is only really not even my best albums but these are just a tip of the iceberg of stuff that I have. But 10-inch records. I do not have any 10-inch records. So I do, however, have some 45 7-inch records. This is on Buddha Records, 123 Red Light with Sticky Sticky B-side. This is 1910 Fruit Gum Company. Yeah, I love these Buddha. I love Buddha Records with most of their like bubblegum artists were on there. 1910 Fruit Gum Company, Kazanit's Cats, Ohio Express. I love all those. So yeah, I have, let's see. This is on Capitol. This is Fox on the Run by Sweet with Burn on the Flame as the B-side. This is another Capitol record, The Human Beings. Turn on your love light, and it's fun to be clean. Yeah, another early garage psych record. The original Uni label. I love the Uni label, and I was able to get the sleeves too. I just love the colors and stuff. They had a great label. This is the Pretty Song from Psych Out, Strawberry Alarm Clock. And then the other side is Sit with the Guru. So you know that's early Psych stuff there. Some more Strawberry Alarm Clock, Barefoot in Baltimore, and An Angry Young Man, again on the Udi label. This record Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. There's a little story behind this one. I was at a little thrift antique shop, or like a used furniture store, and I seen they had crates and crates and crates of 45s, and I bet I spent 2 hours going through crates of 45s thinking that I would find something good, and went through several country records and a bunch of jukebox fodder, only to find this right at the end, Smells Like Teen Spirit 45 by Nirvana on Geffen label. So yeah, all that for the Smells Like Teen Spirit. I do have a 7-inch here that nobody famous, but by a band when I lived in Dallas, Texas, back in the late 80s. Actually, it was probably the mid to late 80s. I lived in Dallas, and there was a band originally called Roxanne. Then they took on the name DT Rocks, and this is just a single called Conversation Piece, and with the flip side song Gang Bang. They were definitely a hair band from that era. Lots of spandex, lots of hair, lots of jewelry, and lots of boots with buckles, and yeah, this was in makeup. This was DT Rock's Conversation Piece / Gang Bang, with the singer's name was Daryl Licht. Okay, anyway, that's the albums to fall asleep to. I see a lot of people had trouble with this. I can fall asleep to any records. In fact, I come home from work and take a little nap before I go to my other job at the video store, and I always pop something on the stereo. I sleep for about an hour, and then I go to my second job. And there's certain albums that I always tend to throw on the turntable to listen to. One being this record that I actually got for 30 cents at the Goodwill. This is like I think this is either a double record. Yeah, this is a double record. Beatles love songs. I can throw any one of those records on, and it takes me into La La Land. I've seen somebody else show this too. I can go to sleep to the soothing sounds of Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. I love this record, and yes, it's got songs on there that can take you to sleepland. Marvin Gaye, what's going on? Yeah, I can fall asleep to this bad boy. This is a good sleeper. In fact, there's another one that I like that's like a soul record. I can throw on some Isaac Hayes and fall asleep too. It's a nice napper. And when I say these, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. These are bands that, or groups that, records that are soothing, make me relax. So another one is the Tubular Bells. A lot of people might know this more, that Mike Oldfield, Tubular Bells includes the theme song from The Exorcist. I can actually put this on, it's instrumental, I can fall asleep to this. So one thing I noticed, I never noticed this before until today looking at it. There's a little disclaimer on the bottom here. It says, this stereo record cannot be played on old tin boxes no matter what they are fitted with. If you are in possession of such equipment, please hand it over to the nearest police. I'm not even sure what that means, but I just happened to look and see that. So don't try and play this on anything other than your stereo. You could be in legal trouble. So anyway, VC, I'm glad to have broken the ice with my first video, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks. Have a great night. Peace out.